The chase towards the chase for the NNSCRA Season 1 TaxSlayer Truck Series Championship continues on here as we get ready for race number 16 at Rockingham, North Carolina. For some race fans, known as North Carolina Speedway, and for those that have a special place in their heart for this track, it is known simply as The Rock. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here as we are only 5 races away from determining who the 8 drivers will be that will battle for the inaugural TaxSlayer Truck Series Championship in our 10-race playoffs season. Actually, no, it's not even 10 races. It's actually 5 races playoff season for this series as we get ready for the running of the Good Sam Roadside Assistance 200. 30 laps of racing here today. This track a little bit different than most tracks in the fact that this racetrack, more than likely, if we get into a long green flag run, will be one of those fuel strategy racetracks, but also, this is one of those tracks where grip is an all-time necessity. And if you don't have grip, your Goodyear Eagles are going to wear out on you very quickly. It's going to make it very difficult for you to both defend the position you currently have as well as go out and get more from the drivers ahead of you. So it may come down to the end of this race of who has the most rubber, who has the most grip as to who's going to win today's event. Starting on the pole position, that'll be M Saatchi in the 74, looking for win number 2 to maybe lock himself up a confirmed spot in the chase for the championship this season. Alongside of him, you got J Srigley in the 90s. Srigley, of course, is still looking for his first win of the season. Srigley coming into this race in the 11th position in the points, so it's been a consistent year. He's just trying to find that trip to victory lane. Then in row 2, you got M Whitman. Whitman coming into this race, currently situated outside of the top 30 in the points, I believe. No, he's not. He's 17th in points, actually. And actually, no, now that I remember, he's actually been putting together some really good runs last couple of weeks. So he could put himself in a championship picture if he goes victory lane today. J Zoerlein, we haven't seen him in victory lane since Las Vegas. He comes into this race 16th in the points, looking for his second win of the year. Top 5 completed by R Cervantes. Top 10 in the points, 10th in the standings. He's looking for his first win of the season, best finish of the year at the season opener at Daytona. And J Hyatt has really been on a bit of a free fall last couple of weeks. Down to 20th in points is our Dover race winner, looking for a win to get his season turned back around. Coming into this race, we're going to give you your top 10 in the point stands, but your chase points, your playoff points, would look currently like this. Charles Jackson, with his 2 wins, currently holds the number 1 seed. Then it would be A Garcia, M Saatchi, Nick Johnson. Carter Friesen, with the win at Riverside last week, is now up to the 5th spot, with J Zoerlein, J Hyatt, and Alex Gray. That would be your playoff drivers if the season were to end. Right now, let's get the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
30 laps of racing here today in the Good Sam's Roadside Assistance 200, so not really a lot of genius math to have to do there. 10, 10, and 10 will be our 3 stages for today's race. Completions of laps 10, 20, and 30. To give you your top 10, the points coming in today's race, presented by Golden Corral. Ace Garcia, still with a huge points lead, is the leader of the standings. 77 points he holds over Ryan Madden. It's a tie for 3rd between M Saatchi and Nick Johnson. Seth Cole up to 5th. Then 6th is Eli Sazak after his runner-up finish to Friesen last week at Riverside. Tristan Allen is 7th. 8th, Jessica Miles. Friesen's win moved him up to 9th. And R Cervantes, as we mentioned, comes into this race 10th in the point standings. Out of your top 6, half those drivers have been to victory lane this season. Can they pick up win number 2, or can we see another driver pick up their first win of the year? We're about ready to go racing. Green flag is out at the Rock. Let's roll. Let's see who's going to have the grip necessary to be able to make their way around this racetrack. 3 wide back there. That's the points leader, Ace Garcia. And the 51 caught up on the top side. As Saatchi to the top position, here comes M Whitman. Big run there through 3 and 4. Got a little tight out of 4, though, as he almost got to the left rear quarter panel of the FedEx Brant Toyota Tundra. The battle's on for 3rd. There almost might have been some contact there between J Hyatt and R Cervantes. Hyatt will take the position for the moment, move him to 3rd place. Whitman taking a look. He was really good through turn 3 last lap. This time he's going to get to the left rear quarter panel. Is he still there when they get to turn 1? He will be. Here comes Whitman for the lead. Joshua Hyatt right there behind him to be able to move by Saatchi for second. If Whitman makes the pass, which he does. So Whitman to the race lead. One car up there almost into the wall. I think hit the wall, and I think that might have been Jessica Miles in the 25. Still green, though, is now Joshua Hyatt. Takes a look down to the inside. Now the caution, I believe, is out. Looked like pit road was closed, and we are indeed under yellow. So we got 3 laps of green flag racing in, almost 4. And it was almost looking like we were going to have another battle for the race lead, this time between Whitman and Hyatt before the yellow flag waved. And I guess we had an incident over in turn number 3. Oh, we got trouble in the back there. A couple of trucks just spun around. One was Shane Lake, one was Patrick Smith. Looks like they got it all sorted out again. Paul Minnick, I think, also spun. I don't know what that was about. Truck down in the apron. That's the 17 of Dylan Thoreau. Also, Eli Sasak in the 05 quite a ways back there. These drivers all waiting for the pace truck to get by so that way they can start pacing under yellow. And now the pace truck leading them around. Michael Whitman out in front showing the way. Let's take a look and see who brought out the caution for the first time here today at Rockingham. Take a look on the left side of your screen. That's the 25 of Jessica Miles. I thought I saw her up and into the wall, and I don't know if it necessarily led to the incident that happens here down in turn number 3, but it made it 3 wide. That's Eli Bright there in the orange and white truck in the middle, and then Eli Sasak just kind of crowded Eli Bright up into Jessica Miles, and it spins the 05 around. Jessica got a pretty good hit into the where that safer barrier juts out to begin with the right front of her Chevrolet as well. So don't know how significant the damage is on the Napa Chevy Silverado, but Eli Sasak, who finished runner-up last week to Carter Friesen at Riverside, is the reason for our first caution of the day here at Rockingham. As you can see, nobody out of the race after that incident. Jessica Miles, Eli Sasak, both going to restart 41st and 42nd and still on the lead lap. So all 42 trucks that took the green to start this race will take the green to continue this race on lap number 8 of 30, which only gives us 3 laps to go here in our first stage. I believe Michael Whitman, who is currently out in front, has a stage win already this season. Indeed he does, so looking for his second stage win of the season in the 33. Ricky Cervantes behind him in third also has a stage win. Joshua Hyatt between the two has 4, so he's looking for his 5th, which would tie him with Charles Jackson for most stage wins this season. Green flag back in the air here at the Rock. Mentioned coming into this race that the final spot currently in the playoffs is held by the 0 of Alex Gray. About 20 to 25 points back are 3 drivers that have a shot at maybe getting Alex Gray for that final playoff position, including Tony Green, Joshua Sekuli, and Isaac Nicholls, all former winners this season. Isaac Nicholls is currently up in the 6th position, so could the 19 be making a bid here late in the season to try and get himself into the playoffs? Joshua Hyatt does have the inside advantage going into 3 on Michael Whitman, and he will very easily make the pass for the top position. So move the 83 to the race lead, and as mentioned, now it's the white flag here for our first stage, and he's looking to tie Charles Jackson for most stage wins this season. Jackson had 5 come into this race. Joshua Hyatt and Nick Johnson both had 4. Ace Garcia had 3. Looks like now Jackson and Hyatt will be tied with the most stage wins this season at 5 apiece, as stage number 1 is going to go to the driver of the Krispy Kreme Chevy Silverado. And why is that important? Because if Joshua Hyatt and Charles Jackson both end up making the playoffs, which the way things are looking, they both will, both of them would now be tied for the number 1 seed when the playoff points are reformatted. Battle about to heat up maybe for second place. Looked like J Cervantes was getting a good run there out of 4, but loses some momentum, so maybe got a little tight off the corner. Nicholls going to bypass him for third, and now here's Seth Cole trying to take fourth place. Seth Cole up to fifth in the point standings after a good run last week at Riverside, but still looking for a win himself, as is Ryan Madden, right there now up in the seventh position, right behind Joseph Srigley. Ryan Madden, of course, we've documented him trying to reel in Ace Garcia for the points, leads 77 points back, but he's had such a consistent year, but again, much like Seth Cole, just lacking that trip to victory lane. Cervantes starting to fade back a bit, so he may have used up his Goodyear rubber on either this restart or the last start, and now he's paying the price for it. He's now dropped back to fifth, in danger of losing that spot. Meanwhile, up front, second place, possibly under contest, Isaac Nicholls on the back bumper of Michael Whitman. Seth Cole waiting to see if he can join this battle. As this battle ensues, the 83 of Joshua Hyatt beginning to lay down some pretty good lap times and start to scamper away with the top position. Last week, Carter Friesen's win at Riverside made it a sweep for the Brad Keselowski Racing drivers, each having a win this season. Nicholls looking for his second win, though, and more importantly, as we mentioned, looking for a good run to get himself back into one of those playoff positions. Right now, the best thing for him is the fact that there is a former winner out in front right now in Joshua Hyatt. The last thing Nicholls needs to see is someone like Whitman, like Cole, like Cervantes go to victory lane here today and make his chances of getting into one of those 8 slots an even greater impossibility. Sixth place now is new driver. That's the 01, Darren Davidson. Davidson looking to just get a good run today. I think that's all they're focused on. I mean, obviously they love the win, but they are 35th in the point standings coming into this race. He does have 2 top 5s on the season, 5 top 10s, but you wouldn't know it with the other finishes they've had. It's just mired him down in the point standings. And Cervantes about to maybe lose another spot as Davidson's reeling him in. Ryan Madden there as well. Whitman's going to hang on to second place. Now the battle seems to be for third. Nicholls was not able to get around Whitman for that runner-up spot, and now he has Seth Cole over his back bumper. Cole trying to get that final podium position, as Whitman at the same time is trying to reel in Joshua Hyatt. He's kind of cut it down a little bit. It was about a second between him and Hyatt, then he cut it down by about 2/10, and now it's back to another second. Problem for Nicholls is he can't get the run off turn 2. Seth Cole stays up to the top side. That allows Whitman to go up there, get a little bit of draft, and oh boy, look at this. Nicholls going to drive it deep into the corner now, and now everybody's really gotten into this battle for second place. Cervantes is up here, Davidson, Madden, and now I think Nicholls is going to be able to complete the pass for second place. Yes, he will. This is all going on about 1 3/10 seconds behind the race leader Joshua Hyatt, and somebody from this group has got to break away to be able to start trying to see if they can reel in Joshua Hyatt. Now as the battle is on side by side for third, maybe Isaac Nicholls will be able to start pulling away from this group and maybe trying to reel in the Joshua Hyatt truck. The problem is we are starting to tick away lap times here, and we are getting down to about 9 laps to go when they hit the stripe this next time. So every lap that goes off the scheduled lap distance is one more lap that's making it a little bit more difficult on Isaac Nicholls. He has cleared that group though, so now maybe, just maybe, we can start to see if the 19 might be a little bit better than the 83. The thing that Joshua Hyatt's been able to do is he's been able to run basically his own pace. Nicholls has had to battle, trying to get around Whitman several times for second place, so he may have used up a little bit more of his equipment than Hyatt's had to, having that clean air and not really having to battle anybody for the last couple of laps. That time by, though, 2/10 of a second were chipped away off of his race lead, and according to if he can do 2/10 every lap, Nicholls would be on the back bumper of Joshua Hyatt when the white flag is displayed. Let's see if he closes the gap up this time between himself and Hyatt. Both these drivers, Hyatt and Nicholls, former winners this season, both wanting win number 2. This time by, does the gap decrease at all? It does. This time it decreased by just a little under 2/10. So Nicholls got to lay down a little bit faster lap times if he's going to catch up to Joshua Hyatt. In the same purpose, he needs Darren Davison to stay away and not get up there to battle him for second place. Davison now in third, fourth place Seth Cole, and where the heck did Nick Johnson come from? The 42. Nick Johnson's had such a strong season. Tied for third in the points coming into this race and now up in the top 5 once again in that 5th position. That time by only about a 10th cutoff between Joshua Hyatt and Isaac Nicholls, and I think a reason for it is because now the 0-1 of Darren Davidson's kind of pulling the 19 back to him, and it's 5 laps to go this time. And Davidson going to get to the inside of Nicholls for second place, and that could potentially just give away this race win to Joshua Hyatt. There's no way you can lay down fast enough lap time when you're side by side with somebody else, as opposed to a driver that's all by himself in clean air. So it looks like Davidson says, I don't care about the fact that you want to reel him in. I'm going to take that second spot from you, and he does indeed do that. They kind of kept the gap between themselves and Joshua Hyatt at status quo, roughly about 1.2 seconds, but this next time by, it's 3 laps remaining in this race. Maybe Darren Davidson was a little bit better than Isaac Nicholls, and maybe he might be the guy to get up there and challenge Joshua Hyatt for this race win, but he's going to have to put down some really good lap times here in the final 3 laps of this race. He only cut it down by about a 10th that time, as Joshua Hyatt just a few laps away from his 2nd win of the season. He won earlier on this year at another tire-eating racetrack, Dover International Raceway, another track where grip is so important, so maybe a little bit of that experience was able to roll over here to an equally difficult racetrack in Rockingham. 2 laps to go for the 83, and he's got a little less than a full second between himself and Darren Davidson. Davidson's got to have himself lightning fast qualifying lap time here, or he needs Joshua Hyatt to make a mistake. He drove it a little deeper than Hyatt did there into 3. Let's see if it gains him anything. He's almost within the same shot, but the white flag is now displayed for Joshua Hyatt. Joshua Hyatt won the first stage, he won the second stage, and now it looks like he may close out this race and win the third stage. Look at this, Darren Davidson trying to close up the gap though. Can he get to the back bumper? Will Hyatt make a mistake? Davidson tries to get the run on the high side out of turn 4. Can't quite do it though. Joshua Hyatt hangs on. Win number 2 comes here today at the Rock. One more lap, Davidson might have had him. He got a nice run there in 3 and 4, but he just couldn't follow up the momentum out of turn 4 to maybe make a crossover move to the inside. Joshua Hyatt. This race scheduled just right for him, so he didn't have to defend that race lead, potentially race win from Davidson. Will pick up his 2nd win of the season, and you might be looking right there at the number 1 seed driver when the playoffs begin now, because he not only now ties Charles Jackson with most wins this year, but also surpassed Charles Jackson for most stage wins this season, sweeping all 3 stages here today at Rockingham, North Carolina. So Joshua Hyatt, a dominant day here today as he picks up career win number 2 in the TaxSlayer Truck Series. Davidson officially little less than 2/10 behind Joshua Hyatt when they cross the line. Seth Cole's going to finish in 3rd. That'll keep him in the top 5. Nick Johnson, as we mentioned, big comeback there in the closing stages of this race. Kind of wasn't even in the top 10 for the first half of the race, and all of a sudden he popped up into the top 5. He's going to get 4th, so I think we're looking at possibly him also being one of those maybe confirmed drivers in the playoffs. Isaac Nicholls will finish the day out in 5th, a well-needed run for him, especially with the fact we don't even see Alex Gray finishing inside the top 25, so Nicholls may have very well jumped up maybe into that final transfer spot. We'll have to see it with the live points in just a moment. Ryan Madden continues his consistency, so he'll get 6, but still that trip to victory leg plaguing his team. Michael Whitman's going to bring it home in 7th after spending a bit of time out in front. J Tsang gets 8th, R Cervantes in 9th, and Nicholas Raill will complete the top 10. This might get him back into the top 30 in the point standings. Charles Jackson brings it home in 11th with P Minnick in 12th. Joseph Srigley, Shane Lake, Zach Rogers were your top 15, followed by Ryan Brommer. Eli Bright, good comeback for him as he got involved in our only caution of the day. He finishes 17th with E Barber, J Lagasee, Davey Johnson, the rest of your top 20. Look on down through the remainder of the finishing results. We mentioned Madden having a good run. The driver he's trying to run down for the points lead, though, did not have a good run. Points leader A Garcia finishing the day out in the 28th position. Gone down, you notice there Alex Gray finishing in 35th. So did Nicholls close up enough ground to be able to move by Alex Gray for that 8th spot in the playoffs? He could very well. The gap between the two of them, if I can quickly do the math in my head, was, I believe, 44 points between Nicholls and Gray. And keep in mind, Nicholls got some stage points today as well. Gray did not. As you look on down through the remainder of the finishing results today, a couple of drivers kind of stand out to me. One of them, Eli Sazak, did not have a comeback after that spin. He finishes 36th after finishing 2nd last week at the Riverside Road Course. And M Saatchi, 40th here today. Guy who came in tied for 3rd in the point standings, going to be finishing in 40th in this one. And Joshua Sekuli, who we mentioned was a driver that was trying to get up there and battle Alex Gray for that final transfer spot. He doesn't have a good run here today in dead last. And when his teammate J Tsang had a great run in the top 10 here today in 8th. But that's going to do it here today from the Good Sam's Roadside Assistance 200 at Rockingham, North Carolina. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown your full participation results. And these are your point standings heading into next week as Joshua Hyatt joins Charles Jackson as a 2-time winner here this season in the TaxSlayer Truck Series, and could very well have just locked himself up a spot in one of the 8 playoff spots for the postseason battle for the championship. Next up, we've got our Pizza Hut X Series and Hershey's Cup Series action here from Rockingham, North Carolina to finish out this race weekend. And then next week, all 3 series are back for super speedway racing at the track that started it all, Daytona International Speedway. Hope you guys will tune in for that. Till then, I've been Seth Cole. I'm signing off. You've been watching a production of the SARA Offline Racing at its best. Here, Scott Roush, Madeline Crenshaw, and 3 laps down was the badly damaged Chevrolet of Kyle Keith, who had to make an unscheduled pit stop during that last green flag run. But that is going to do it here today for our Pizza Hut X Series race from Rockingham, North Carolina. Doesn't mean our weekend's over, though, because we still have a Hershey's Cup Series race that's got to take place here at Rockingham. There's going to be a little bit more laps added to the scheduled distance, which could make it a very interesting fuel strategy race. We'll have to wait and see. Ashlyn Boyd, though, puts the 20 car in victory lane for the first time this season, 4th time in 3 seasons, and may be able to challenge for one of those 12 spots in this season's playoffs in the battle for the championship. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race, though. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finishing results. These are your rookie points and your overall points heading into next week's race, as all 3 series will be heading back to the place where this whole season started, our 2nd stop at Daytona International Speedway. Till then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of the NCRA Offline Racing at its best.